For more than 100 years, the Panama Canal has stood as a marvel of engineering and a vital artery for global maritime trade. Since its opening in 1914, it has been the shortcut that transformed shipping, allowing vessels to bypass the long, perilous journey around the tip of South America. By connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, the canal saves ships thousands of miles and weeks of travel, making it a linchpin in the world's supply chains and a symbol of international cooperation. But today, on October 16, 2025, the canal faces an unprecedented crisis. A relentless, months-long drought, one of the worst in recorded history, has dropped reservoir levels to historic lows, crippling the lock system that lifts ships between oceans. The once mighty waterway is now struggling to function. The result, only a fraction of the usual number of ships can pass through each day, as authorities ration precious water and prioritize certain cargoes. This has led to massive traffic jams at both entrances of the canal, with dozens of ships waiting for days or even weeks, causing unprecedented delays and uncertainty for global businesses. Shipping companies, desperate to keep goods moving, are now forced to reroute their vessels around the southern tip of South America, a treacherous and time-consuming detour that adds significant costs and risks. Others are scrambling to secure one of the few available slots through the canal, paying sky-high fees in fierce bidding wars as the cost of passage soars to record levels. These disruptions are driving up costs across the entire supply chain, from raw materials to finished products, and consumers around the world are starting to feel the impact in the form of higher prices and delayed deliveries. The Panama Canal, which moves an astonishing $270 billion in cargo every year, has suddenly revealed a critical vulnerability in the global trading system, one that few anticipated would be exposed so dramatically. This disruption is more than just a logistical headache, it's a wake-up call for the world. Even the most reliable infrastructure is at the mercy of climate change, and the consequences are rippling across continents. Now, governments, shipping companies, and logistics experts are urgently searching for alternatives. A plan B to keep global trade flowing when the Panama Canal falters. The stakes have never been higher. Enter the revival of an old dream, the possibility of building a new canal through Central America, a bold solution that could reshape the future of global trade. Amid Panama's troubles, Nicaragua has seized the spotlight, unveiling a bold new transoceanic canal proposal in late 2024. Backed by China's financial and engineering power, the $50 billion project aims to rival Panama and transform Nicaragua into a global trade hub. Chinese, state-owned CAMC Engineering is set to build a deep-water port at Bluefields, anchoring the canal's Atlantic end. This isn't Nicaragua's first canal attempt, but with Panama gridlocked and global shipping desperate for reliability, the timing is perfect. The government is pitching the canal as a global public good, an essential backup for world trade. For the first time, the world is taking the Nicaraguan canal seriously. The proposed Nicaraguan canal route is nothing short of ambitious, stretching an impressive 445 kilometers, over 5 times the length of the iconic Panama Canal. It represents one of the most significant infrastructure projects ever envisioned in Central America. This new waterway is designed to carve a path across the heart of Nicaragua, opening up a bold new chapter in global shipping. The journey begins at the bustling Caribbean port of Bluefields, then cuts across the vast expanse of Lake Zolotlan, before finally reaching the Pacific Ocean at Puerto Corinto. This route was carefully chosen to maximize efficiency and minimize disruption, connecting 2 major coasts and transforming Nicaragua into a vital link in world trade. Notably, the canal's path avoids Lake Cosabolca, Nicaragua's largest freshwater lake. This decision was made to sidestep the fierce environmental opposition that derailed earlier canal proposals, and to protect one of the country's most precious natural resources. By steering clear of this sensitive ecosystem, planners hope to balance progress with preservation. The canal's engineering is equally forward-thinking. It's designed to be both wider and deeper than the Panama Canal, capable of accommodating the world's largest ships, vessels so massive they can't fit through Panama, even after its recent expansion. This means the Nicaraguan canal could set a new global standard for maritime trade. For the shipping industry, this translates into bigger economies of scale, faster transit for megaships, and a genuine alternative to the bottlenecks and delays that often plague the Panama Canal. The promise is smoother, more efficient movement of goods. on a global scale. With two major canal routes in the Americas, global trade could become more resilient than ever before. Instead of relying on a single fragile choke point, shippers would have options, making the entire system less vulnerable to disruptions, whether from congestion, maintenance, or geopolitical tensions. For logistics managers and shipping companies, this means reduced risk, more predictable transit times, and the ability to plan routes with greater confidence. The ripple effects could be felt across supply chains worldwide. Ultimately, the Nicaraguan Canal is being marketed as a future-proof solution, an answer to the growing demands of global commerce in a rapidly changing world. If completed, it could redefine the map of international trade for generations to come. Nicaragua's canal isn't the only contender. The region is buzzing with rival projects. Mexico's interoceanic corridor, a $50 billion land bridge, will soon move containers by rail from Pacific to Atlantic in record time, with Chinese investment fueling its rise. Colombia dreams of a maglev rail, while the U.S. already shuttles high-value goods coast to coast by train. Even the Arctic's Northwest Passage is being eyed as a seasonal shortcut. Each route offers something different: speed, cost, or capacity. Nicaragua's edge: a continuous waterway for the world's biggest ships, if it can deliver. The canal's promise comes with a heavy price. While the vision of a new waterway through Nicaragua inspires dreams of economic growth and global trade, the reality on the ground is far more complicated and fraught with consequences. Carving a 445-kilometer channel will mean deforestation on a massive scale, the draining and destruction of delicate wetlands, and the displacement of countless species. The region's rich biodiversity faces unprecedented threats as habitats are fragmented and water resources are put at risk. Rivers and lakes that have sustained communities and wildlife for generations could be forever altered. Tens of thousands of rural and indigenous people could be forced from their homes, losing not just land, but also their way of life. Past protests echo through these communities, as fears of lost heritage and broken promises resurface. For many, the canal represents not opportunity, but upheaval and uncertainty. Lake Zolotlan, already struggling with pollution, now faces even greater risks. The canal's massive locks will demand vast amounts of fresh water, potentially worsening shortages and further contaminating this vital resource. The delicate balance of the lake's ecosystem hangs in the balance. Critics warn of looming water shortages, increased contamination, and a troubling lack of transparency from the government. Many fear that the true costs of the project are being hidden from public view, leaving communities in the dark about their future. Environmental and social impact assessments remain vague and incomplete, fueling widespread distrust and anxiety. Without clear answers, uncertainty grows and skepticism deepens among those most affected. For many Nicaraguans, the canal's economic promise rings hollow when weighed against the threat to their natural environment and cultural legacy. The land, water, and traditions that define their identity are at stake. The battle over the canal is as much about preserving identity and heritage as it is about infrastructure and development. For those on the front lines, the fight is deeply personal, and the outcome will shape Nicaragua for generations to come. China's deep involvement in the canal is a geopolitical game-changer. By financing and building the project, Beijing challenges U.S. dominance in Central America and secures new trade routes for itself. For Nicaragua, Chinese partnership offers capital and technology without Western strings attached. A lifeline for a government at odds with the U.S. The canal symbolizes a shift in alliances, drawing Nicaragua closer to China's orbit. Washington watches with unease, wary of a strategic asset in rival hands. The canal is more than a shipping lane. It's a new front in the U.S.-China rivalry. Its construction would mark China's arrival as a major power in America's backyard. The stakes are as much about influence as economics. Despite the fanfare, skepticism looms over the canal's future. The $50 billion price tag is staggering, and Nicaragua hasn't revealed how it will secure the funding. Chinese involvement is clear, but the details, loans, investments, or something else, remain murky. Investors remember the failed HKND project and want proof the canal can compete with Panama and Mexico's new corridor. Political instability, engineering challenges, and environmental risks all threaten to derail the project. Without transparency and a solid business case, the canal risks being dismissed as a political fantasy. The world waits for answers before believing in Nicaragua's mega-project. The Nicaraguan canal stands at a crossroads: promise or pipe dream. If built, it could revolutionize global shipping, lower costs, and boost Nicaragua's economy. Tens of thousands of jobs and new industries could follow, lifting the nation's fortunes. But the obstacles, funding, environmental damage, and social upheaval, are immense. The project's fate is tied to the shifting power struggle between China, the US, and Nicaragua's own ambitions. Will it become a symbol of progress or a cautionary tale of overreach? The world is watching, and the stakes for global trade have never been higher.